The night was cold, darker than usual. Rain had stopped an hour ago, but the street still shone with puddles and neon lights. Ethan Cross, a lonely mechanic who fixed ships for people who couldn't pay much, was walking home from the scrapyard. He didn't like this part of town. Too many drunk traders, too many broken souls. But tonight, something strange caught his eye. Near an old liquor store, a flickering neon sign buzzed in the rain. Under that sign, something small was tied to a metal pole. At first, Ethan thought it was a doll. Then it moved. He stopped. His breath made a small white cloud in the cold air. The thing, a child, was shaking. Around her neck hung a cardboard sign with words written in black ink. "Take her for a bottle of liquor." Ethan froze. His mind couldn't make sense of it. Who would do something like that? He stepped closer, his boots splashing water. The girl lifted her head weakly, and that's when his heart almost stopped. Her eyes, glowing faint silver, watched him carefully. Her skin wasn't like human skin. It shimmered faintly, like it reflected tiny lights beneath the surface. Her hair was pale blue, tangled and wet. She looked half-starved, half-frozen. Ethan whispered, "Hey, are you okay?" No answer. She only blinked slowly, confused, like she didn't understand his words. He noticed her wrists, thin, bruised, tied with rough rope. Without thinking, he pulled out his small utility knife and cut the rope off. She flinched but didn't run. When the rope fell, she looked up at him again, eyes glowing brighter for a second, then fading. Ethan felt something strange, like a tiny hum in the air around her. A soft vibration in his fingertips. He stepped back, heart pounding. "You're not from here, are you?" Still no answer. But she pointed weakly to the sky. Her hand trembled. Ethan followed her finger upward, toward the dark clouds and the endless stars beyond them. That was all the answer he needed. Ethan looked around the street. Nobody else was there. The liquor shop was closed. The street was silent except for the buzz of the sign. He took off his worn jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. "You'll freeze to death here," he muttered. "Come on, I'll take you home." She didn't resist when he lifted her. She was lighter than air, like her bones were hollow. She rested her head on his shoulder, eyes half closed. Ethan walked through the silent streets, his mind racing. He had seen strange things in his life. Junk traders selling alien tech, smugglers bringing things from off-world, but never an alien child abandoned like trash. When he reached his small apartment above the workshop, he laid her on the couch. The old heater hummed weakly in the corner. He wrapped her in a blanket and made a cup of instant soup. She watched him with wide eyes, curious but cautious. When he handed her the soup, she sniffed it, then sipped slowly. For a second, she smiled. A small, tired smile, but real. Ethan sat across from her, unsure what to say. "You understand me now?" he asked softly. She hesitated, then spoke one broken word. "Home?" The sound was soft, musical, like her voice carried an echo. Ethan's chest tightened. "You're safe here," he said. "You can stay until we figure out where your home is." She tilted her head as if trying to read his face. Then quietly she whispered, "No. Home. Gone." Those words hit him harder than he expected. He didn't know who she was or where she came from, but he understood that kind of pain, the pain of losing everything. Outside, thunder rolled in the distance. The flickering lights from the city shone through the window. Ethan turned toward the sound, uneasy. He couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was looking for her. That night, as the alien girl slept under his old blanket, Ethan sat by the window staring into the storm. His old ship radio on the table buzzed with static. Then through the noise, a strange voice crackled. "Subject escaped. Unknown male interference. Retrieval unit dispatched." Ethan's blood ran cold. He turned to the sleeping girl. Her face was peaceful now, her glowing eyes closed. For a moment, he thought she looked like any other lost child. But now he knew. She wasn't just lost, she was being hunted, and by taking her home, Ethan had just made himself part of the chase. Ethan didn't sleep that night. He sat beside the window, staring at the rain hitting the glass. The radio's static still echoed in his mind. Subject escaped. Retrieval unit dispatched. He kept glancing at the small figure sleeping on his couch. The alien girl was curled up in his old blanket, breathing softly, her faint silver glow lighting the room in gentle waves. She looked peaceful now, but Ethan knew peace wouldn't last. "Who are you?" he whispered to himself. Just before dawn, a sharp beep came from his work table. His communications scanner, something he used to find junk signals, flashed red. It had picked up a coded transmission nearby. The message repeated over and over in a strange robotic tone. Unit approaching. Target located. Prepare containment. Ethan's chest tightened. They were close. Whoever they were. He stood up quickly and went to the girl. "Hey, wake up," he said softly, shaking her shoulder. Her eyes opened instantly, silver light glowing stronger this time. "Listen," he said, his voice firm but kind. "We have to go now." She blinked, confused. "Go where?" "Somewhere safe." He grabbed his jacket, his toolkit, and an old handheld scanner. He wrapped her again in the blanket and led her down the back stairs, out through the alley behind his workshop. The sun hadn't risen yet. The city was quiet, only the hum of power lines in the air. As they moved through narrow streets, the girl suddenly stopped. Her small hand grabbed Ethan's arm. She looked up, her eyes shining brighter. "What is it?" he asked. She didn't answer with words. Instead, she pointed toward the sky again. This time, Ethan saw it. Faint lights moving behind the clouds. Not aircraft. Too quiet. Too fast, he whispered. "They're already here." They ducked into an abandoned subway tunnel near the scrapyard. The air smelled of rust and oil. Ethan found an old workbench covered in dust and sat her down. "Listen," he said, catching his breath. "Who's chasing you?" "Those voices on the radio, what do they want?" She stared at him for a long moment, then slowly spoke, her words broken but clear enough. "Men in black armor. Took my people. I run. They want what inside me." Ethan frowned. "Inside you?" She nodded and touched her chest lightly. "Heart. Not human. Energy. Pure." Ethan felt a chill down his spine. "Energy?" The girl closed her eyes. A soft hum filled the air. The lights in the tunnel flickered. When she opened her eyes again, her skin shimmered brighter, and Ethan saw a faint pulse of light beating beneath her chest, like a small star trapped inside. Ethan stepped back, stunned. "You're like a living reactor," she tilted her head. "Reactor?" "Something that makes power," he said quietly. "A lot of power." The girl's expression turned sad. "They use us. We die." For a moment, silence filled the tunnel. Only the distant sound of thunder rolled above. Ethan clenched his fists. "Not again," he muttered. "Not while I'm alive." He checked his scanner again. The signal was moving, fast. "They've tracked us." Ethan's heart raced. He quickly moved to an old cargo door at the far end of the tunnel. "Come on, kid. Time to move." But before they could leave, a blinding blue light flashed behind them. The air rippled like heat waves. A metallic voice echoed from the shadows. "Human identified. Release the specimen." Ethan turned and saw them. Two tall figures in dark armor, their eyes glowing red under their helmets. They looked half machine, half human. The girl gasped and hid behind Ethan. He raised his tool scanner like a weapon. "You'll have to go through me first." The armored figure took a step forward. "Non-compliance detected." Ethan's mind raced. He noticed an exposed wire hanging from the old subway panel beside him. Electricity sparked faintly. He glanced at it, then back at the soldiers. "All right," he whispered. "You want her? Come and get her." When the soldiers moved, Ethan kicked the wire loose and slammed it into the metal rail. A burst of sparks filled the tunnel. The lights exploded. The ground shook. The soldiers stumbled for a second and just long enough. Ethan grabbed the girl's hand. "Run!" They sprinted through the smoke, coughing, hearts pounding. Behind them, the armored voices shouted commands. "Target escaping." Pursuit initiated. They burst out from another exit near the old harbor. The morning sun was rising now, painting the city orange and gold. The girl's glow dimmed again. She was exhausted. Ethan lifted her into his arms. "Hang in there, kid," he said softly. "We're not done yet." As he looked out toward the ocean, he spotted something far in the mist, the outline of an old cargo ship. It was half broken, rusted, but maybe still working. "Looks like our only chance," he whispered. He carried her toward it, unaware that far above them, hidden behind the clouds, a ship hovered silently, watching. A voice from that ship said coldly, "Subject Omega confirmed. Human interference escalating. Authorization for termination granted." The sea wind was cold and sharp. Ethan's breath came out in quick white clouds as he ran toward the abandoned cargo ship. The alien girl's small hand was still clutching his jacket, her eyes half open, her glow faint like a dying candle. The ship loomed ahead, rusted, broken, forgotten by time. Its name was barely readable on the hull, the Horizon Dawn. Once it carried goods across the stars, now it was just a home for dust, gulls, and ghosts. Ethan climbed the ramp, carrying her in his arms. The metal creaked under their weight. Inside, the air smelled of oil and sea salt. Old lights flickered weakly when he hit the main switch. To his surprise, a few systems still worked. "Looks like we got lucky," he muttered. He laid her down on a bench near the control console. "Rest, you're safe." "For now." The girl blinked slowly. "Safe?" Ethan forced a small smile. "As safe as we can be." He walked to the main control panel. The screens were cracked but alive. He tapped a few buttons. The radar glowed green. Then his stomach twisted. Several red dots were moving fast toward the coast. "They're tracking us again," he whispered. The girl's soft voice broke the silence. "They never stop." "Always find," Ethan turned. "Then we'll make them lose." He grabbed his toolkit and got to work, fingers moving quickly, repairing cables, rerouting power. "If this ship still has half its systems, we might just stand a chance." The girl tilted her head, watching. "You fix things?" "Yeah," Ethan said with a tired grin. "Broken things are my specialty." Her eyes softened. "Then maybe you fix me too." Ethan stopped. The sadness in her voice hit deep. He looked at her glowing hands trembling in the dim light. "You're not broken," he said quietly. "You're surviving." For a moment, she looked almost human, just a scared child trying to find hope. The radar beeped again. Ethan's head snapped toward it. The dots were closer now, too close. He moved to the captain's chair and powered up the ship's engines. The old machine coughed, groaned, and then roared to life. Dust rained from the ceiling. The girl covered her ears. "Loud!" "Yeah," Ethan said, laughing nervously. "She's not used to waking up." He hit the launch switch. The ship shuddered but didn't move. Rusted locks groaned from years of decay. Come on, come on." Outside, a shadow moved across the sky. Then another. Ethan froze. No, not already. Through the cracked window, he saw 3 black ships descending through the clouds. Their engines glowed with cold blue light. They were silent, too perfect, too precise. The girl's eyes widened. "Hunters." Ethan grabbed her hand. "Then we fight." The first blast hit the ocean near the dock, sending water high into the air. The ship rocked violently. Ethan slammed into a wall, pulling the girl close. "Stay behind me," he shouted. He reached for an old power rifle from the weapon rack, a relic from the war decades ago. He didn't know if it still worked, but it was all he had. Outside, mechanical voices echoed through the loudspeakers. "Surrender the subject." "You will not be harmed." Ethan aimed the rifle at the door. "Yeah, I've heard that one before." The girl trembled. "They say kill." "I know," he said. "Not today." The ship shook again. One of the metal walls burst open. A dark figure stepped through the smoke, tall, armored, glowing red eyes. The same kind that had chased them in the tunnel. It raised its weapon, aiming at the girl. Ethan fired first. The old rifle screamed with energy. The beam hit the soldier's chest, sending it crashing into the wall. "Go!" Ethan yelled, grabbing the girl and running deeper into the ship. "There's a maintenance shaft. We can reach the engine core." They ran through the narrow halls, sparks raining around them. The ship's alarms wailed. The girl stumbled once, clutching her chest. Her glow flickered wildly. Ethan caught her before she fell. "Hey, stay with me." She looked up, voice shaking. "They took power." "I can't." "Hold it. What power?" he asked. She touched her heart. "The star inside. Dying." Before he could answer, the deck exploded behind them. Ethan shielded her with his body as flames rushed through the corridor. He dragged her into the engine room and slammed the door shut. The walls trembled from another hit. "Okay," he said, breathing hard. "We're cornered. But if I can get this reactor online, maybe we can blast off. Get out of here." The girl stared at him weakly. "You help me." "Why?" Ethan looked at her, his face grim but kind. "Because someone has to. Because maybe the universe forgot what mercy looks like." For a moment, she just stared at him. Then her faint smile returned. "You, good human." Ethan knelt beside the reactor core. It was old, cracked, but it still had life. As he rewired it, he didn't see the small light forming above the girl's chest. Her energy pulsed again, brighter this time. She looked at her hands, whispering words in her own language. The air shimmered. When Ethan turned, he froze. "What are you doing?" Her voice was calm. "Saving you." A blinding wave of light burst from her body, spreading through the ship. The engines roared, the sky outside exploded with color, and the hunter ships vanished in a storm of energy. When the light faded, Ethan was on his knees staring at her in shock. The girl was still standing. Her glow dimmed, but alive. She smiled faintly. "They gone. For now," Ethan exhaled. "You just saved us," she nodded weakly. "But they will come again." Ethan looked out the cracked window, the rising sun painting the ocean gold. He knew she was right. The fight had only just begun. The sun rose slowly over the ocean, turning the broken cargo ship gold. The waves were calm now, but inside the horizon dawn, silence felt heavy. Smoke drifted through the corridors and the smell of burnt metal filled the air. Ethan sat near the reactor room, breathing hard, his hands black with oil. The alien girl rested against the wall, her glow faint again. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Ethan broke the silence. "You nearly blew up the whole ship back there." She looked up, tired but calm. "Had to stop them." Ethan nodded slowly. "You saved us, kid, again." The girl tilted her head. "You call me a kid?" He smiled faintly. "Yeah, that's what we call small troublemakers." She blinked, unsure if it was a joke, then gave a tiny laugh. It was soft and shy, but it made Ethan's chest feel lighter. For a moment he forgot that they were being hunted. The peace didn't last. A sharp beep echoed from the control console. Ethan stood quickly and checked the screen. The signal wasn't from the hunters this time. It was from deep space. A new transmission, coded, and marked with a strange symbol he didn't recognize. 3 rings around a star. The message read, "To any survivor of the Horizon Project, the Makers are watching." "The child must be protected," Ethan frowned. "The Makers?" The girl stirred. Her voice trembled. "The Makers are my creators." Ethan turned to her, surprised. "You mean your people?" She shook her head slowly. "No, not my people. Not living machines. Older than humans. Older than stars." Ethan froze. "Wait, you're saying machines built your kind?" "Yes," she whispered. "They made us from light and code. We are their children. But they left long ago. Only silence now." Her words sent a chill down Ethan's spine. "And those hunters?" She looked down. "Created by the same makers, but broken. They forgot what they were made for." Ethan leaned against the console, trying to make sense of it all. "So they're like corrupted versions of you?" She nodded slowly. "They want my core. My energy is pure. Can restart their world. But they will destroy me to take it." Ethan sighed deeply. "Of course. Because that's what monsters do." He looked out the cracked window where the sea stretched endless and cold. "We need answers. We need to find where those signals are coming from." He typed into the console. The ship's system flickered to life, scanning the coordinates from the message. A small blinking dot appeared somewhere far inland. "There," Ethan said. "That's our next stop." By afternoon, he had repaired part of the ship's hover system. It couldn't fly into space, but it could move across land at low height. Enough to travel. The girl watched him work. "You fix fast," he smiled tiredly. "I've been fixing broken junk my whole life. You learn things when the universe keeps throwing chaos at you." When the engines were ready, he strapped himself into the pilot seat and helped her into the co-pilot chair. "You ever flown before?" She blinked. "I don't remember." "Guess today's your first lesson." He hit the ignition. The old ship rumbled, lifted slightly, and hovered a few feet above the ground. Ethan grinned. "Still works." They began moving inland toward the mountains. The landscape below was quiet. Forests, rivers, and the ruins of old human towns swallowed by nature. As they flew, the girl pressed her hand against the window. "Your world? Beautiful." Ethan looked at her. "It used to be." Before people forgot how to care, she turned to him. "Same way as mine." Their eyes met. For a moment, 2 worlds of pain shared one heartbeat. Hours later, the radar beeped again. The signal grew stronger. Ethan followed it to a deep valley surrounded by cliffs. At the center stood a massive stone structure, ancient and half-buried. The ship landed roughly. Ethan grabbed a flashlight and his tool gun. "Stay close," the girl nodded. Her glow dimly lit the dark tunnel as they entered the ruins. Strange carvings covered the walls, symbols of stars and spirals. Then they reached a chamber filled with holographic machines still humming softly. In the center stood a circular platform with the same symbol from the message, 3 rings around a star. The girl gasped. The Maker's Vault. Ethan stepped forward cautiously. What is this place? She closed her eyes and placed her hand on the glowing platform. The machines reacted instantly. The walls came alive with light, showing images of galaxies, battles, and machines rising from worlds. A voice echoed through the chamber, ancient, calm, and powerful. To the one who carries the light of Kor, your creation was not an accident. You are the seed of a new beginning. Ethan stared in awe. It's talking to you. The girl's eyes filled with tears. They left this for me. The voice continued. Beware the corrupted ones. Their hunger will consume all. Find the beacon at the world's edge. Only there will the light awaken. Then the light faded and the vault went silent again. Ethan looked at her. What does it mean? She whispered. It means, I'm not the last. There are others like me. Ethan's heart pounded. Then we'll find them. But before he could say more, the ship's alarm blared outside. Ethan turned toward the entrance. The ground shook. The air hummed. The hunters had found them again, and this time they weren't alone. The ground trembled under Ethan's boots. Dust fell from the ancient vault ceiling as the low hum of engines echoed through the valley. Outside, red lights glowed through the fog. The hunters had returned. Ethan grabbed the alien girl's hand. We have to move now. But she didn't move. Her eyes were fixed on the glowing platform in front of them. They found us, she whispered, her voice trembling. They always find us. Ethan looked at her, then at the platform that had shown them the Maker's message. Something inside him refused to run again. No, he said firmly. Not this time. We make our stand here. He ran to the control panels surrounding the platform. The old machinery still hummed with energy. If this place belongs to the Makers, he muttered, then maybe it can protect you. The girl's eyes widened. You don't understand. The system is alive. It needs a key. Ethan glanced at the control board, its symbols shifting like liquid light. Then we'll find the key. The girl shook her head. No, it must recognize the bloodline. Bloodline? Ethan frowned. You mean your people? She looked at him strangely, her silvery eyes full of confusion. No, maybe you, me. Ethan laughed softly, though his voice was shaking. I'm just a human mechanic. I fix junk, not ancient alien vaults. But as he touched one of the glowing panels, the machine responded. The lights flared brighter. The symbol of 3 rings spun and aligned perfectly under his hand. The girl gasped. It knows you. Ethan stepped back, startled.
How is that possible?
The voice of the Makers echoed again, calm but powerful. Genetic code recognized. Human derivative line, Project Horizon. Authorization granted, Ethan froze. Project Horizon? Wait, that's the ship's name. Horizon Dawn. The girl's expression changed. You were part of them. The first humans chosen by the Makers. Ethan shook his head, confused. No, I wasn't chosen for anything. I was born on Earth in the scrapyards. My family, he stopped. Memories flashed in his mind. His mother's pendant with a symbol he never understood. The 3 circles around a star. She used to say it meant hope. The same symbol that now glowed under his palm. Ethan whispered, all this time, it was them. The girl stepped closer. You carry their code. That's why you can open this place. He looked at her, realization dawning. And that's why they're hunting you. They think I can activate what you carry. A deafening boom shook the ground. The entrance burst open in a storm of smoke and sparks. 3 hunters stepped through, tall, armored, glowing with red energy. Behind them floated a larger figure, a commander, black armor marked with the same 3-ring symbol, twisted and burned. The commander's voice was deep and cold. The vault is forbidden. Surrender the light and the human host. Ethan raised his weapon, his pulse pounding. Come and take her. The commander tilted its head. You misunderstand, human. You are not her protector, you are her counterpart. Ethan's stomach dropped. What did you just say? The commander extended a clawed hand. You carry the other half of the Maker's code. Together, your DNA and her core complete the cycle. With it, we can rebuild the galaxy under order once more. Ethan's voice trembled. You mean enslave it? The commander's eyes glowed brighter. Perfection requires control. The girl stepped forward, her glow flaring. You are not Makers. You destroy. Creation demands sacrifice, the commander replied. Ethan's rage boiled. He turned to the platform, shouting, "Tell me how to stop them." The ancient voice responded, "Only the unison of light and line can awaken the core." Ethan looked at the girl. "Light and line." He pressed his hand to the console. "That's us," the girl hesitated. "It could kill you," he met her eyes. "Or it kills everything if we don't try." The hunters raised their weapons. Bolts of blue energy filled the room. Ethan grabbed the girl's hand and slammed his other hand on the glowing core. A blinding wave of light burst outward. The air screamed. The machines came alive, gears turning, symbols spinning, walls shifting. The hunters were thrown backward by the shockwave. Ethan's body burned with pain, but he didn't let go. "What's happening?" he shouted. The girl's voice trembled. "You're merging with the vault. It's reading your code. Then let it read fast," he gasped. The light grew brighter, forming a dome around them. For a moment, Ethan saw visions. Galaxies being born, stars exploding, the makers building worlds from dust. Then the voice spoke again. "Core alignment complete. Beacon protocol unlocked." The commander screamed and charged forward. "No, the light belongs to us!" Ethan looked at the girl one last time. "Run when this ends!" She shook her head fiercely. "Not without you." But before either could move, the vault exploded in pure white light. When the smoke cleared, the valley was silent. The hunters were gone, disintegrated by the blast. The stone walls were shattered. Ethan lay on the ground, unmoving. The girl crawled toward him, her hands shaking. "Ethan, wake up." His eyes opened weakly. The glow from his hand matched hers now, silver light pulsing under his skin. He smiled faintly. "Guess we're connected now." She touched his hand gently. "You are part of the light." He coughed, laughing softly. "Great, just what I needed." But deep inside, both of them knew. The connection had changed everything. Ethan was no longer just human, and the war that was coming would need him to be much more than that. The valley lay in ruins. Smoke rose from the shattered stones and faint blue sparks danced in the air like fireflies. The air felt charged, alive. Ethan opened his eyes slowly. The world around him shimmered, edges glowing faintly. His body hurt all over, but something inside him felt different, stronger. He sat up and looked at his hands. Silver lines ran beneath his skin like light trapped in veins. When he moved his fingers, the lines pulsed softly, alive in rhythm with his heartbeat. The alien girl was kneeling beside him, her eyes wide with relief and fear. "You live," she whispered. "Barely," Ethan said, trying to smile. His voice was weak. "What happened?" She looked at his glowing hands. "The vault joined us. You carry part of the core now." Ethan stared at her. "You mean that energy, your star, is inside me?" "Half of it," she said quietly. "You are now part of the light." Ethan laughed once, breathless. "Great. I was barely keeping my life together as a human. Now I'm half cosmic battery." But the girl didn't laugh. Her gaze shifted to the horizon, where dark clouds gathered again. "They will come." "The beacon is awake," Ethan frowned. "Beacon? What beacon?" She pointed at the glowing platform behind them. It was still pulsing, sending faint waves of energy into the sky. "It calls to the makers, and to the broken ones." "So we just told everyone in the galaxy where we are," Ethan muttered. "Perfect." He stood, wincing from pain, and walked to the edge of the vault. The valley below was still burning where the hunters had been destroyed. The silence was eerie, but his mind buzzed with something new. Voices. Not human voices, not even words. Just echoes, like whispers made of light. He pressed his hands to his temples. "Do you hear that?" The girl looked at him sadly. "They speak to you now." "The makers, what are they saying?" She closed her eyes for a moment, then whispered, "They remember." Ethan turned away, frustrated. "No time for riddles. We need to move before more of those machines show up." The girl nodded. "Where will we go?" He stared toward the mountains. The beacon signal had projected coordinates into his mind. A location near the northern ridge, something hidden underground. "There's another signal out there," he said. "The next step." She tilted her head. "You can see it?" "Feel it," he said. "It's like it's pulling me." She smiled faintly. "Then we follow the pull." They left the ruins and walked through the valley, using what remained of the hovercraft to cross rough ground. The engine sputtered, half dead, but Ethan's new energy seemed to affect it. Whenever his hands touched the controls, the lights glowed brighter. "You are changing," the girl said softly. Ethan nodded, eyes focused ahead. "Yeah, not sure I like it." "You will," she replied. "You were chosen," he sighed. "That's what worries me." Hours later, they reached the ridge. The landscape had changed. Massive metallic pillars rose from the earth like bones of some ancient creature. Strange lights glowed faintly inside them. "This place," Ethan whispered. "It feels alive," the girl nodded. "It is." "This is the first beacon." Ethan stepped forward cautiously. The air around the pillars hummed, reacting to his presence. His hands began to glow again. "It's reading me," he said. Suddenly, a burst of light shot upward from the center pillar, forming a column of energy that reached the clouds. Ethan stumbled back as images filled his mind. Galaxies, machines, and a single enormous structure floating in space. The forge of the makers. The girl gasped. "You saw it too?" Ethan nodded slowly. "They're coming back, aren't they?" "Yes," she said, "but not all will be kind." Before he could reply, the ground shook violently. The air grew colder. A deep rumbling echoed across the valley. Out of the shadows rose something massive. A hunter ship, black as night, its engines glowing red. But this one was different. Its body was fused with organic matter, pulsing like it was alive. Ethan's pulse quickened. "That's new." The girl's eyes widened. "They sent the Prime." "The what now?" "The first hunter. The one that killed my world." Ethan tightened his grip on his weapon. "Then we finish what your people couldn't." The ship's sides opened and hundreds of drones poured out, sleek, red-eyed, fast. Ethan and the girl ran for cover behind the glowing pillars. Beams of energy tore through the ground. Ethan aimed his rifle and fired, but the weapon overheated quickly. The drones kept coming. "There's too many," he shouted. The girl closed her eyes, pressing her hands to the earth. "Use it," she said. "Use what?" "The light inside you. Let it answer." Ethan hesitated. "I don't know how." "Don't think," she said. "Feel." He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The hum in his body grew louder, the lines under his skin burning like fire. The ground trembled beneath his feet. When he opened his eyes again, they glowed silver like hers. The drones fired. Ethan raised his hands instinctively and a wave of energy exploded outward. The air itself shimmered, and the drones disintegrated in a storm of light. The girl watched in awe. "You did it!" Ethan stared at his hands, panting. "I didn't do anything, it did." The Prime ship roared above them, its massive eye-like core turning toward Ethan. The girl's glow brightened beside him. "Then together," she whispered, "we finish it." Ethan nodded slowly. Together. They stood side by side as the sky filled with light. One human, one alien, both carrying the same ancient spark. And high above, far beyond the clouds, the forge of the makers stirred for the first time in 1,000 years. The sky above the mountains had turned silver. Clouds spun like storms of light, and the earth trembled as if the world itself was waking up. Ethan stood at the heart of the beacon field, breathing hard, his hands still glowing faintly. The two alien girl stood beside him, her silver eyes calm but full of fear. The massive Prime ship hovered above them, its shadow swallowing the valley. It was alive, its metal skin pulsing like muscle. From its center, a single red core burned brighter than the sun. "Ethan," the girl whispered. "It comes for the core." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then it'll have to kill me first." The ship's voice thundered across the sky. "Human anomaly detected. Core energy fusion confirmed. You are an unauthorized creation." Ethan lifted his rifle, though he knew it would do nothing now. "Yeah?" he shouted. "You built monsters, you get rebellion." Bolts of plasma rained from the ship. Ethan grabbed the girl and dived behind a fallen pillar. The ground exploded where they had stood a moment earlier. She looked at him with worry. "You cannot fight the Prime. Its power is older than my kind." "Maybe," Ethan said, eyes fierce. but it's never faced a mechanic with an alien heart. The beacon pulsed again, sending waves of light up to the clouds. Ethan felt the hum in his chest like a second heartbeat calling to something far away. The girl placed her hand on his arm. It hears you. The makers hear you. Then the sky ripped open. Through the storm of clouds, a colossal ring of light appeared, descending slowly like a dawn sun. From within, giant silver figures emerged, shapes of light and metal, calm and silent. The makers had returned. The prime ship screamed, its voice full of rage. You abandoned us. We evolved. One of the luminous beings spoke, its voice soft but shaking the air. You corrupted yourselves. You were made to protect, not rule. The prime fired its main cannon at the maker, but the beam vanished against a shield of pure light. Ethan could barely breathe. They're real. The girl's eyes filled with tears. The legends were true, but the battle wasn't over. The prime turned its fury toward the ground. Red energy crackled, targeting the beacon, and Ethan felt the pulse in his chest surge painfully. The beacon was drawing power through him, through them both. He gasped. It's using us. The girl nodded. You are the conduit. Only you can finish this. Ethan looked at her. If I do, what happens to me? She didn't answer. Her silence was enough. He laughed weakly. Yeah, I figured. The prime ship unleashed another blast. Ethan stumbled, clutching his chest. The light inside him burned brighter, threatening to consume him. Ethan, she cried, grabbing his shoulders. You must release it. Let the light go. I don't know how. You do, she said softly, touching his face. Because you are human, and humans always choose. Ethan looked into her glowing eyes. For the first time, he saw not an alien, just a child who wanted a home. He nodded. Then let's save it together. He reached out, taking her hands. Their lights merged, forming a blinding core between them. The ground cracked, the air shimmered, and the beacon roared to life. The prime tried to rise, but its armor melted under the wave of pure energy. It screamed, its voice fading into static as light devoured it completely. The valley filled with silence. The makers watched from above, their forms fading like morning mist. One voice echoed down. The cycle begins anew. The light has chosen wisely. When the brightness faded, the beacon was quiet again. The air smelled of rain and salt. The girl knelt beside Ethan. He was lying still, the glow gone from his hands. Ethan, she whispered, shaking him gently. His eyes opened slowly, faint silver still glowing inside. Guess it worked. She smiled through her tears. You saved them. He sat up weakly, looking at the calm horizon. No. We did. The beacon behind them pulsed once more, softer now, no longer calling, just watching. Ethan looked at her. What happens now? She looked at the sky where the makers had vanished. They will return one day. But until then, this world is yours. He smiled faintly. Then you'll stay? She nodded. If you'll have me. Ethan stood, his body aching but alive. Kid, after everything we've been through, you're not going anywhere. As the sun broke through the clouds, the two of them walked toward the shore, one human, one alien, bound by light and choice. Behind them, the beacon glowed faintly, sending a gentle signal into the stars. Far above, among the galaxies, the makers watched silently. And somewhere deep in space, another beacon answered. The story wasn't over. It had only just begun.